Hello and welcome, coaches of GMAN Division 4A. This is the first, very belated instalment of Your Week in Review. I am your host, Callisti Mayer, the golden apple of Discord, and I am here to give you, the coaches of Division 4A, the spotlight and show the rest of the ReBBL. The superstars of tomorrow have finally arrived. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first episode, and it is a little bit behind schedule. Each division in ReBBL, GMAN, and the Big O was supposed to have some coverage week in and week out. Clara meant that you guys just didn't really have any content, and you've been content starved for about 2 weeks now. So hopefully I can rebalance the scales and give you guys an abundance of TLC. Without any further ado, let's get started. The usual format for these weekend reviews is we go through the teams and we see any new development, and we take a spotlight and look at some matches that have been played, maybe go into some further detail on some of those matches, and then we sort of make predictions for the week ahead, maybe a few other little bits and bobs. Because you haven't had any content for about 2 weeks now, a lot of those things haven't happened. So this show is going to be a little bit of a catch up and a little bit off schedule, a little bit out of the norm. So what I'm going to do is I'm just to familiarize myself with you, the coaches, and help you familiarize yourselves with each other. I'm just going to take a quick look at your teams. I'm going to do sort of what we would usually do in the preview show, and sort of look at your team builds, and then what we would do in recurring episodes would be just to look at how your team's developing and look at your match results. So I'm going to sort of give a very brief highlight of all of those things and really sort of focus on your team development and your team builds. Next week or the next episode, I'm going to be sort of going back to more towards the schedule that we had before. Okay, so without any further ado, let's take a quick look at the teams. So the first team on the list is Absolute Disaster, coached by Thomas T. So let's have a look. It's a Dark Elf team, and what's the theme here? Oh, okay, so natural disasters. Not quite sure if Kim Jong-un is supposed to be a natural disaster. Maybe he is. I'm not that political, but everybody else is named after natural disaster. We've got hurricane, volcano, meteor, flood, earthquake, blizzard, drought, tsunami. Maybe Thomas, you ran out of natural disasters and just thought you'd put a ringer in there. Kim Jong-un. So let's see how this team's been doing. So it looks like you started with the 4 blitzer, 1 runner, rest linos, 2 team rerolls, 1 apothecary build. Maybe you couldn't even afford the apothecary in your initial build. Maybe you got that later. This is a very solid build. So with the 4 blitzers, you've got a lot of stability there, a lot of security. You've gone for the runner, who is, by the looks of it, with all that SPP, he's your main ball carrier. You've had a little bit of a few accidents along the way. So you've got what's this? A mixed next game, hopefully. Yes, it is. So Hurricane's out with a missed next game, but he does have a level up. He's now a Blodge blitzer. We have Volcano, who is a little bit SPP starved. He's only on 2. We have Meteor, who, true to his name, is movement up and Blodge. And then we have Kim Jong-un with a movement bust. So Meteor got the movement, Kim Jong-un lost it. That's probably Nuffle's way of punishing you for naming Kim Jong-un as an absolute disaster. We also have Flood, your runner. As I mentioned before, you're likely your main ball carrier. You're close to level 4 now, that 3rd level up. And you have leader, you have pass, you have the dump off which you came with. Suggestion for you, I do play Dark Elves a little bit. Suggestion for you when developing Flood, give some thought to Nerves of Steel, and then give some thought to, once you have maybe Earthquake leveling up, giving him Nerves of Steel too. I wouldn't do this on your blitzers. Your blitzers are going to be your main points of attack. They're going to be your stability. But if you give your runner Nerves of Steel with dump off, it means that can dump off. He doesn't suffer any penalty for doing so. If you have one of the linemen with Nerves of Steel too, he can be sort of relatively close to that runner, a little bit away, and be a great recipient for your dump off that is being dumped off with no penalty because you have Nerves of Steel. If you have Nerves of Steel on your lineman, even if he's based by your opposing coach, he's still going to be able to catch it with no penalties. That's a nice little strategy. Maybe that might be something you want to think of if you're developing this runner further. Also, sure hands would be a good skill to pick up. But yeah, definitely Nerves of Steel and Nerves of Steel on maybe one of your linemen. That would be a nice little combo with some synergy. For your blitzers, well, I can see that you're going for the blodge on the blitzers, which is really, really, really strong. Next, I would go tackle. If you get doubles, go mighty blow. It's pretty sort of standard stuff. For your lineman, you've gone for kick. I love kick. Kick is one of my favorite skills. Every week in, week out, when I see kick as a skill that's been taken on linos, I am going to praise you. Kick is such a powerful skill. It was a powerful skill before the LE update. It's even more powerful now. I love kick. Anyway, enough of me waxing lyrical about the virtues of kick. Moving on, we also have that lineman with wrestle. He might turn into a bullhawk. If you can give him wrestle and give him strip ball, he's going to be a great bullhawk for you. Although I would maybe suggest when you get your witch elf, developing her as a bullhawk, or either as a bullhawk or as a sort of crazy safety blitzer that's gonna sort of really sort of take out pieces from afar. With Frenzy, you can get Juggernauts, or you can go for the wrestle strip ball. Either is good on your witch elf. Oh, this isn't kick. This is tackle, isn't it? Yes, it is. My mistake. So you haven't got kick. Get kick. But tackle's good too. And then the other skills I would take on your linos, in fact on most of your team, because you're elves, I would definitely go for dodge. Having the block or the wrestle skills is good, but you're not taking full advantage of that agility 4. One of the virtues and one of the real strengths of the Dark Elf team is that it's a very strong defensive team, and a great way to be have even more strength and versatility defensively is to have linemen and players in general that you can just peel off from being based, and have it succeed like 99 times out of 100, because you have agility 4, you have dodge. So unless you're in multiple tackle zones, and you're just simply based by one opposing player, you can peel them off all night and day, round the clock, and you're never going to sort of fall foul of those 1 in 9s or 1 in 36s. Yeah, looking like a good team. Let's have a quick look at the history. Normally I would go over this week in and week out, but so you played your 4 Greenhorn games. You looked like you did okay. So you got a draw, you got a win, you got another win, and you got a loss to Pro in a Party, which the name sounds familiar. Maybe that's somebody like a veteran coach that re-rolled in ReBBL, in GMAN. Anyway, yep, you did pretty well. You did, out of the 4 games, you got 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So that's a 50% win rate, which is great for the pre-season. Regular season, you've had 2 games, and you have won 1 and lost 1. You won against Scholars of Ogre Hampshire, so I would imagine that's an ogre team. And you lost against Skaven, I would imagine. That team name is unpronounceable, so I'm guessing that's Skaven because of the cheese logo. So not bad. Definitely, I think that you're going to be a strong contender for the season up ahead, coming up, and we will give you lots of love as the season goes on, just like every other coach in this division. I'm excited to see how you develop. Next, we have Grim Guardians by Cthulhu Collect. So let's have a look at you, Cthulhu. You actually reached out to me earlier today when I announced that I was going to be doing these recap videos. So thanks for taking the time to reach out to me. You'd mentioned that your mummies, you were feeling they were underdeveloped. To be honest with you, you're relying on developing your mummies purely through injuries. So even with Mighty Blow, they can take a little while to develop. How many games have you played? You played 6 games. So yeah, I could see you maybe being wanting a little bit more development on your mummies. You get MVP on them. They've leveled. You get another 2 injuries on either of them, and you've leveled. It'll happen. I wouldn't stress it too much. Even without any levels, they're still terrifying pieces. I hate facing them, so yep, they're fine. At least they're not dead. Then we have let's just quickly take a side note on the theme for this team. So the team name is Grim Guardians, and it looks like your entire team is named after old comedians or silent movie stars. I'm not quite sure which. So you've got Abbott and Costello, you've got Laurel and Hardy, you've got the Three Stooges, you've got Red Skelton, Mel Brooks, and then Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd. Were they silent movie comedians, or were they just silent movie stars? Anyway, that seems to be your theme, and it seems to be your keeping in character, so that's good. So let's go back to your just looking at your team development. You have 2 rights, one with Mighty Blow. You have the zombie with block. You have another zombie who got a double and ended up taking guard. Good choice. You have 2 skeletons. Hopefully they're going to become dirty players. And then you've got your 2 ghouls. Both incredibly close to leveling, so they probably level next game. My advice for you is keep on forging ahead, trying to develop those mummies. Maybe draw in play to the mummies. They're not the fastest, but they can be terrifying, and they are the pillars that hold your team together. They're your star players. So just try and place your mummies in the center of the field and draw the action towards those mummies. Don't make them work for their injuries. Don't make them split them up. Don't have one going one way, one going the other. Keep them centralized. Keep them supporting each other. Keep them protecting your ball carriers, and just carry on drawing the action, drawing the play in towards your mummies. With your whites, and then sort of skill development. Guard on these mummies would be amazing. I've played undead teams, early development undead teams, and when I'm playing 2 mummies that both have guard, it's an absolute frigging nightmare, because you're not. I play rats, so you're not gonna knock them down. You're not gonna do much about them, and if they're sort of caging up around your ball carrier, there's very little chance of you getting into that ball carrier through conventional means. So guard, maybe stand firm, and grab for your normal roles. Obviously block if you get the chance. Right, whites. Okay, so you've got one with Mighty Blow. That's a great first skill. I would probably go Mighty Blow on the other one. Next, I would go Tackle. Tackle on both of them. Then I would go... I would actually make one of them a Frenzy Juggernaut piece, and the other one I would probably go Piling On and Grab. They're going to be your, obviously your mummies are going to be your killer pieces, but they're also your sort of cores, your pillars of your team. So they need to be strong. Your whites, you can make them, develop them as killers. You can develop them as those sort of hard-hitting blitzers that are ranging around the field and taking care of nuisances and getting the injuries. And they can sort of really be the reapers on your team and just sort of really go around as a sort of hitman, hit squad. And by developing them in those two different ways, they both sort of fulfill different needs that your team might have. For your zombies, yeah, you've got a guard piece, that's great. I would go block, and then maybe think about recycling them when they get to the second skill. Obviously you're not going to recycle this guard piece, you're going to hope that you get a block, and then you're just going to carry on developing him, because it's not every day you manage to get roller doubles and get guard on a zombie. Skeletons, yep, dirty player for those two. And your ghouls, they are going to be easy to develop, but they're also very, very squishy, and they don't get the benefits of having regen. So if you get a permanent injury on a ghoul, or you lose a ghoul, then it's easy to happen. And so I wouldn't place too much development into your ghouls, or at least not more development into your ghouls than, say, your whites and your mummies. It's very easy to level your ghouls quickly, but it's also very easy to lose them quickly. So just bear that in mind. Anyway, moving on. We have Revolutionary Corpses. Khemri team. Coached by Luke Lazy. You're a brave man, Luke. So we have Tomb Guardians. I don't know. They're the antithesis of what I usually play, which I usually play dash teams, so agility-based teams. So all of that agility 1 and agility 2 just scares me. But anyway, so Tomb Guardians. You've got the 4 Tomb Guardians. Of course, you have. They've seen a lot of development, actually. That's pretty good, considering they don't have Mighty Blow. So you've got one guard piece, one block piece, and you've got an agility piece. He's also the highest leveled, or the most SPP player on your team. So you took an agility up, which made him 2 agility, maybe with a mind to making him a ball carrier. I suppose you're thinking with 2 agility, he's more likely to be able to pick up the ball or receive a handoff. I don't know, that seems like an exercise in frustration to me. I would probably have forgone that stat up, that agility up on your Tomb Guardian. I would think, I don't have a huge amount of experience with Khemri, so take this with a pinch of salt, but I would think that you'd probably want to develop your Tomb Guardians for the purpose they were designed for, which is to go around hitting things hard. Trying to adapt them into a ball carrier or an auxiliary ball carrier, I don't know, it just seems to be sort of detracting from what they're there for. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. But yeah, I just carry on developing them with guard and blocks if you can get it. Mighty Blow. Mighty Blow is your friend on your Tomb Guardians. I would get it sooner rather than later. Guard is great, but unlike the mummies we were just talking about, you don't come with Mighty Blow, and you need Mighty Blow to start getting those injuries in and start racking up the SVP. Your 2 Blitzers, on the other hand,
when compared to this Tomb Guardian, they haven't seen any development at all. So I'm not sure if they're brand new or if you just haven't managed to get them any SPP, or you just been sort of focusing your SP elsewhere. But these are really good players. They're your positional. They're two of your good positionals. And I would definitely be trying to get them SPP whenever you have a chance. Maybe block with your Tomb Guardians and blitz with your Blitzers. That's what they're there for. And yeah, definitely you'd want to get some SPP, get some levels on these guys, just so they can develop and they can be sort of more potent, a more potent force on your team. You've got your two throwers. You've developing them in exactly the same way. They've both gone for block as their first skill. That's good. That's fine. Then we have skeleton with kick. Good man. As I said, anytime I see kick, I'm going to applaud you. I'm going to hold you up and show you to the world and say that what a good job you're doing. Kick is an amazing skill. And by the way, by the end of the season, you're going to be sick of me saying that, but I'm going to carry on saying it. Kick is an amazing skill. Take it, folks. And then you've got your rest of your skeletons with not much development. You've got 3 team rerolls, which is great. Fan factor, which probably comes from your wins. Let's see how you've been doing. So you played 6 games. You have the 4 greenhorn games. You lost the first, drew the second, lost the third, and lost the fourth. Okay, so not such a great greenhorn experience for you, but you have drawn a game in the regular season, and you lost your last game. Okay, so there's definitely some wins you can start getting there. I know that Khemri's a little bit of a harder team. Maybe it's a bit of a learning curve for you right now, but you're getting there. You're getting some good development on your team. Next is the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard, a high elf team. This is a rare treat. So high elves, lots and lots of elf bullshit. Okay, so let's see what Tyler Drass, probably pronouncing that totally incorrectly, but I'll let me work on it, and I'll maybe you can shoot me a private message on Discord and give me the phonetic spelling of your name. So let's see what we got. We've got Thrower, who's got strong arm and movement up. We've got a tackle blitzer. We've got a blodge blitzer. We've got 2 of your catchers who are close to leveling again, along with all of your blitzers. Wow. With their first skill up being dodge. That's a good choice. You have 1 catcher that you probably just bought who has yet to get any SPP. You've got a lineman with Mighty Blow, so you've got a double and thought you'd take Mighty Blow. Okay. And then you've got another lineman with kick and a strength up. That's great that you got the strength up. I can totally see why you took it. Shame that it was on a lineman who had kick. Your kick piece is going to be valuable. You took kick, that's amazing. You're already off to a great head start. But then you managed to roll 12 or double 6s on your skill up, got your strength up, and you had to take it. I don't blame you. But that would have been such a better skill up on any of your positionals or any of your other linemen, because the kick piece is going to be, you've now got a lot further to go to the next level, and your kick piece he was already had a target on his back because he has kick, and now he's got a strength up. He's gonna be the first target of everybody you face. You Mighty Blow lineman, you just need to level him and get block. Normally for elf teams, I would say get dodge, allows you to move out of the tackle zones, as I said with the dark elf team. But now that you've committed to getting Mighty Blow for him, and I don't blame you at all. Shame that you got that double on alignment again. But now you've got Mighty Blow, you need to get block so that you can have more successful time blocking, and he can become a kill piece for you. He can become your sort of enforcer. The rest of the skills that you've taken, I completely agree with. You've gone for tackle on one of your blitzers. It's a tough choice. Yes, you can go blodge, but I think tackle is going to do you well. And then obviously your next skill, I would take dodge, unless you roll a double, in which case, I don't know, probably take Mighty Blow. Again, with your other blitzer, tackle would be a good choice. There's plenty of other skills that you can choose from too. Your catchers, probably going to go block or wrestle next. Maybe wrestle on one of these and develop a ball hawk. Get strip ball after that, or tackle. And they can be sort of your crossfield with movement 8, ball hawk that's going to sort of jump into cages, dive through screens and get that ball come what may. They're also very close to leveling. All four of your key positionals, your blitzers and your catchers, all very, very close to leveling. So that's great. Okay, let's move on. Scholars of Ogre Hampshire by Maisie. Maisie, I've seen you on Discord a bit, so I'm not sure if you're a new coach or a new to ReBBL coach, or if you're a GMAN coach that I missed last season that has re-rolled. Anyway, you've gone for an ogre team. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ogres. I'm not quite sure how many you started with the season with. Let's have a look. How many games have you played? You've played 5 games. Yeah, as I said, I'm not sure how many you started the season with. I would think you probably started with 4. You might have gone with 5 though. But then you would have probably have had to abide a few team rerolls along the way. Development wise, and then the rest of you are the Noblars, or us old timers, we call them Snotlings. So yeah, you've gone for development wise, you've gone for break tackle, and then for one of your ogres you were lucky enough to roll a double and get block. You have an agility up on your Noblar. That's amazing. He's a dead man walking, or a dead Noblar walking, because again, he's got to start up. He's very, very fragile. So he's probably going to have a target on his back. And you've gone for leader on this Noblar. So you rolled another double. And you went for leader. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Leader's a great skill to get. Obviously, it's going to give you an extra team reroll. But putting it on such a fragile player, I don't know, it just seems like a waste of a double to me. I mean, I don't know, maybe make use of, make hay whilst the sun shines, I think the saying is. Yeah, think of it as a wonderful extra reroll for as long as he lives. And may I just say that I love the ogre team. I was in the LE beta, and very quick story for you. So I was in the LE beta, and I got matched up with an ogre team, and I was like, oh sweet, I'm gonna love this, because it's a new fresh roll ogre team, and I think I don't know how many boneheads he's going to have, and I'm probably going to be able to, because I was playing rats, I'm probably going to be able to run circles around him. And these Noblars, they only have 1 strength, and this is going to be such fun. I'm probably going to get a lot of kills, I'm probably going to score high, and the sun's going to be shining, the birds are going to be singing, everything's going to be sweet. So I started playing this game. This guy had a break tackle ogre. His other ogres didn't have any skills. And then he had Noblars with like diving tackle, and I didn't think much of it. But they have their Titchy, they have Dodge, they have Sidestep. So basically they can move anywhere on a, was it 2+? And no matter how many tackle zones, and they also have Dodge, so you try to hit them, and unless you have tackle, they've got a good chance of not actually going down. And even if they do go down, or if they don't go down, they've got Sidestep, so they can be really annoying. Give them diving tackle, and then suddenly you have the most irritating, nightmarish player in the game, because there's this little dude who's pathetically weak. You're trying to knock him down, he won't go down. He's marking your ball carrier. He carries on marking your ball carrier, even if you push him or defender stumbles, and he's got diving tackle, and then you forget about it, and then you try to run away, and diving tackle does its thing, and then suddenly your face is in the dirt and the ball is loose, and yeah, let's just say I lost that game against Ogres, and I was Skaven, and I should have won it. I thought I was going to win it, and I didn't. So ever since that day, I've had a healthy fear of the Ogre team, and especially of the Noblars. They were a very unpleasant surprise, and I love them. They're great. Okay, so anyway, moving on. We then have the Underworld Unimpressives, coached by JP Casey. Now, JP Casey, you reached out to me shortly before recording, gave me a little bit of backstory on the Underworld Unimpressives. So they all had all the players on this team are a bit inept. They're late. They can't seem to hold down a steady job. They've fallen into becoming Blood Bowl players, and yeah, they're a bit naff really. But they seem to have with your coaching prowess, they seem to have won a few games. I think. Let's have a quick look at the games, the history. So yeah, you're doing really well with this ragtag band of misfits and ne'er-do-wells. So you had 2 Greenhorn games. You won 1, drew 1, and then you've won both of your regular season matches so far. So for a team that you were telling me is pretty unremarkable and pretty bad, they're doing amazingly well. So either you're a good coach or you are lying to me. So let's have a look at the team. We have a Warpstone Troll with tentacles. We have your 2 Blitzers with one with Mighty Blow. We have a Skaven Thrower who's about to level again soon, and he has Block. We have 2 Linemen, both with Wrestle. Good choice. And then we have a whole bunch of Goblins, one with the 2 Head skill, which is amazing, and one with a Niggle and one with AV Bust. Okay, first things first, before I forget, I would get rid of this Archie the Inadequate. He's stunted to begin with. He's only 40k, so that's 40k of team value that for a player that literally, as soon as he goes on the pitch, as soon as he gets knocked down, he's out. He's knocked out, he's injured, and he's basically sitting out the rest of the match, or sitting out the rest of that drive. I would just cut him before he starts getting SVP, like for MVPs and things like that, and just becoming this liability that always out of matches and is always getting injured and keeps on getting SVP, and then I don't know, you're left in this awkward position of firing somebody that has SVP that you need. I would also think about firing Ed the surprisingly tall. Even though he has 2 SVP, he's got a Niggle. So again, I really wouldn't put any more time into developing him. Will the poor speller, poor spelled incorrectly, is obviously a team player that's probably going to level soon, so keep him. Moving on to the rest of your team, your positionals. So you've got the thrower, probably your ball carrier is going to level again soon. I would probably go for I'm trying to think. I'll probably go for Fend, actually, if he's your ball carrier. And then for your blitzers, now Underworld, just in case you didn't know, for the rest of the coaches, they have natural access, not normal access to mutations. So for both of your blitzers, I would go Mighty Blow, Claw. From there, like for both of them straight away, Mighty Blow, Claw. That's on normal rolls for both skill ups. And these two are going to become your killers. They're going to become what makes your team dangerous. Same thing with your Warp Zone Troll. You went for Tentacles. It's probably working really well for you, but I would definitely think about getting Claw. That way, you start to face these high AV teams like Orcs and Chaos and Undead, and they actually start to get a little bit nervous when they're playing you. You're already winning matches. You could just do with a little bit more of a killer edge. And then I think your team is set. Underworld can develop into a really strong team and a really fun team. Yeah, you're doing well. I don't really have much else to say. Carry on doing what you're doing and being the exact opposite of what your team suggests, which is that they're unimpressive, because this is impressing me. Okie dokie. So we have Jokesy with Leoric's new best friends, the vampire team, and this is a bashed up vampire team. I can already see from the team value. So Jokesy, looks like you've had some injuries. You only have 2 vamps. You probably had more than that, or you had 2 vamps and a whole whack load of thralls. Either way, you're losing players. Now you have 2 vamps and a team with very little development. So maybe some of the players you lost were developed. You have 1 thrall with Dirty Player. You have 1 thrall with Block. You have 1 thrall that's out. You have another one that's going to close to level. Another 3 that are close to leveling. You haven't got much money in the bank. You have 2 vampires, 1 with 0 development, 1 with Mighty Blow. I would definitely focus on, because Bloodlust is a thing, I would definitely focus on getting more thralls. Once you have more thralls, then I would focus on getting another vamp. Yeah, and then whilst you're waiting to buy that 3rd vamp, I would definitely focus on developing these 2 vampires. I'm sure you already have been. You're not sitting there going, oh, I'm going to develop thralls. That sounds like a winning plan. You're probably trying like crazy to develop these vampires, but just carry on fighting the good fight and develop those vampires, so by the time you get the 3rd, you have these 2 developed. I probably wouldn't have gone for Mighty Blow. I probably would have gone for Block or Dodge on these vampires. Gives them some longevity, and really sort of going around the pitch trying to kill things with a vamp with Mighty Blow when you don't have Block. It's risky. Okay, you got 3 team rerolls, you got 1 apothecary. You're in a bit of a bind. I've got to be honest with you. You're in a bit of a bind because you don't have that many thralls. You're going to get some loners, but Bloodlust is a thing. Vampires is the team that likes to eat itself from the inside out, whilst the other team is trying to kill them anyway. So you're gonna be losing thralls in a match because of Bloodlust. Yeah, I would try and get a stable. You can try and play matches on loners and try to save up for that 3rd vampire. But yeah, I would try and sort of get 120k to buy some more thralls. You need more thralls on your team because Bloodlust is a thing. Good luck. Alright, so moving on, we have Avenging Murder Wolves, coached by Jay Sentinel. Avenging Murder Wolves. That's definitely a team name that's prophecy there. It's really telling you what's going to be happening with this team. So this team is it's a Norse team. It's all about the bash. It was all about the bash before I read the team name. But taking a look at the team, we have the two wolves with very little in development. Now I know that they can be slow to develop. You've got 3 SPP on one, no SPP on the other. Try and focus some SVP on them. I know that they are slow to develop, but once they get block, they become so much more useful. You've got the 2 Berserkers, which are, rightly so, they are the focus of your SPP. They are great pieces. They can develop into even better pieces. Last season, my division was topped by a Norse coach who developed his Berserkers into these terrible killer pieces, which were an absolute menace. They were killing people left, right, and centre. So I know that the Berserkers can develop very well. They can develop very quickly, and before you know it, get them some tackle, get them some piling on, get them some mighty blow, and before you know it, you've got these 2 crazy ass frenzy pieces that are just running around the pitch, murdering people left, right, and centre. You've got a runner who's developing nicely. He's Blodge. He's got the Dauntless. Came with the Dauntless to begin with. Probably going to make him your ball carrier, and in which case, probably give him sure hands. It's a bit of a passive skill, but you would be surprised how often you will end up needing it and using it. You've got your rest of your linemen. Obviously, when they level up, you're going to have the normal general skills to choose from. I would think about taking tackle, just to make them real a-holes to play against. And then you've got the Yeti Snowball, who is close to leveling, which is great. And you're probably going to want to take Mighty Blow on him if you don't get a double, in which case you're going to take block. Good team, scary team. I personally hate playing Norse because I play Rats, I play Skaven, and Norse are the anti-Skaven team. They have block across the board, and they are pretty fast. So the one advantage that Skaven have in that they are faster than most teams is kind of negated by Norse. And they all have block, so they can outfight you. I don't like them as Skaven. They're a great team, but they're the team I hate playing. Okay, now we have the Suffragettes, coached by Ninja Breadman. So Amazon team. Amazons are disgusting unless you're dwarfs or dwarfs or chaos dwarfs, because they all come with dodge. Dodge as far as the eye can see, which makes them a great starting team. Very, very powerful early on, as long as they're not facing teams stocked up with tackle, because you could actually start off with an entirely linewoman team, very, very TV efficient. As soon as they level up, you take block, then there's a blodge linewoman. You can end up with an entire team of blodge pieces very, very quickly, and for an amazingly low TV. If you're working the TV min-maxing angle, Amazons are great for that. You can get block on them all so quickly, and then they can be an absolute nightmare to play against. So Ninja Breadman, you've gone with the 4 blitzers, you've gone with 1 thrower, 1 catcher, and the rest line women. That's a solid build. You've gone for 3 team rerolls, 1 apothecary, and in terms of development, you went for a strength up on your blitzer. That's great. Obviously this is going to be a real powerful piece now. You went for Mighty Blow on another blitzer. Good, I can't argue with that. You went for sidestep on this catcher. I might have gone for block or wrestle on this catcher. Helps to keep them alive and standing on their feet a little bit longer. Sidestep is a great skill by without a doubt, but I would have probably gone for block or wrestle. But then again, you're probably getting sick of just adding block as your skill up every damn time. So maybe you went sidestep just for a change. It's a great third or second or third skill, but yeah, I would have gone for block or wrestle. Your thrower is close to leveling, hasn't leveled yet though, and is out next match. This line woman is AG busted. She has block, so I understand why you're keeping her around. But as the rest of your team develops, I would nix her as soon as you start having more development on the rest of your team, because she's never going to be able to dodge out of tackle zones, and that's something that you might end up relying on or needing. And then you're going to have this line woman who's not going to be able to dodge to save her life, dodge out of tackle zone to save her life, and then your entire battle plan is going to be down the tubes just because you forgot that you had this line woman who was agility busted. You have another line woman who has an agility up, so great, keep her and develop her. She's at 14 of 16 SPP, so try and focus some SPP on her, just get her that next level up. Give her block or wrestle. This is just so that she can live a longer, happier life and do more good work for you. And then your other line woman has block as well. Amazons, what can I say? They are a really strong team early on. I think you're going to do really well this season. I don't think I see a whole lot of teams that are going to be a good counter for you, so you might end up running away with it as long as you know how to play Amazons. I think you're going to do really well. So let's have a look at your games. You had a win as your first Greenhorn game, a loss against another Amazon team in Greenhorn, another loss versus, well, that was either Necro or Undead, and a draw. I'm not quite sure what that team was. And then we have regular season, we have a loss against the Underworld Unimpressives, and then a win against the Avenging Murder Wolves. So we just looked at both of those teams. So you're a 50% win rate in the regular season. I'm sure you're going to end up mid to high table by the end of the season. Okay, Rats All folks, is that what I read? Yes, coached by Wormster. So Rats All folks, let's have a look. You've got the 4 gunner runners, you've got 1 thrower, you've got 2 storm vermin, and the rest linemen or line rats. You went for the 3 team rerolls and the 1 apothecary. If this was your starting build, this is the build I would take. I'm a scaving coach, so this is totally the build I would take. 3 team rerolls, 1 apothecary, 4 gunner runners, 1 thrower, 2 storm vermin, the rest line rats. And you're developing them really strongly as well. So you went for kick, I love you. You're going to love this skill, you probably already are. Your storm vermin, you were lucky and you got claw on a double, mighty blow, so this is already a nice killer piece. Just need a tackle and maybe piling on, or tackle and piling on, or grab, or tackle and juggernaut, frenzy and juggernaut. Sorry. Again, develop each of the storm vermin that way, and then if you get claw, obviously take it. You have taken it, which is great. You have the other storm vermin who's developing as another potent, powerful killer piece. Missing claw, but you may not get that. He can still develop to be an amazing kill or enforcing piece on your team. We also have the thrower, who has yet to get any SPP, might be a new piece. And then we have your 4 gutter runners. One has no SPP, he also got injured. We have one with wrestle. We have one with an agility up. This is going to be your superstar piece. Definitely focus on getting him some SPP just so he can get block or wrestle. This piece is going to probably end up being your bullhawk. Get him strip ball pretty fast, because at this stage of development against the other teams, very few people are going to have sure hands, and it's a great way for you to get the ball on your defensive drive. And Skaven live or die by their ability to turn over and score defensive touchdowns. So as soon as you can, I would say sort of develop all of your gutter runners evenly, and also try to distribute your SPP to the rest of your team. Where possible, get on those gutter storm vermin, and get it on the thrower. But in this case, where you are with your development, I would focus on getting SPP on this gutter runner pronto, because he's going to be a big target. Get him that block, get him that wrestle, and then focus on getting SPP on your other pieces. And the other prime target for your SPP right now is this gutter runner with wrestle. Get him strip ball as fast as you can, and then you've got a bullhawk, and you have another arrow in your quiver, whatever the saying is. Basically, you've got another tool at your disposal. You've got another strategy to employ. The other 2 gutter runners, get them block or wrestle. I'd get this one block. I'd give this one block. I'd give this one strip ball, and then I'd give this one block. And then as you get doubles on these gutter runners, I would give one big hand, because that's a great skill to have for ball retrieval. And I would probably develop, like say you're developing this one as the other wrestle piece, I would give this one tackle. I would give them both of them dauntless over horns, so that you can sort of start taking down pieces quite reliably. One with strip ball, one with tackle. That gives you a lot of ways to sort of retrieve the ball defensively. Great team. Built the way I would build them. And just let's have a quick look at your history. So we have a 2-1 win in the Greenhorn against Black Infection. We have a 2-1 loss against Teenage Mutant Ninja Goblins. Another 2-1 loss. This is in the Greenhorn against the Urkwood Innuendos. Another 2-1 loss. You seem to be making a habit of these 2-1 losses in the Greenhorn against the Tuco Chorfs. Sorry, I'm finding that hard to read. Yeah, Dustoko Chorfs, and that was a 2-1 loss. Those were your Greenhorn games, and then you regular season, a loss against the High Elves, and a loss against the other Skaven team. So you're not having a good time of it. 1 win and 5 losses. Okay, so you're developing your team well. Your problem isn't the way you're developing your team. I think maybe you just need a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of guts, and just really adapt to the way that good coaches play Skaven, which is a bit hard and loose, really. Okay, so moving on. Wolves and stuff. So Necro team, Screwface is the coach. We've got 1 werewolf, 2 flesh golem, 1 white, 2 ghouls. 2 werewolves. You've snuck 1 in there at the bottom, and then the rest zombies. So my initial impressions of this team is that you've got these 2 flesh golems. They're great pieces. They are an absolute bitch to develop. They are so slow to develop flesh columns typically. So wherever possible, focus some SPP on them. Your werewolves are your superstars of your team. You're developing them well. You've got block on each of them. Obviously, if you get doubles and you're going to take Mighty Blow or something along those lines. But if it's just normal stat progression, then going dodge next on those would be great. You can develop these as your roving blitzers. They can be developed as your ball carriers. They are one of the best players in the game, so definitely look after these two wolves and develop them well, and you'll be happy, you'll be smiling. You went for the one white, which is a little bit of a surprise. You went for the two ghouls and went for one white. If possible, I would have gone two whites and one ghoul. This ghoul is developing really nicely. This one is a little bit superfluous, and as I said earlier when I'm talking about the undead team, ghouls don't get regen. They are very squishy. So if you're developing ghouls, then you should do so with the knowledge that they're not going to be there forever. In fact, they are the player on your team most likely to bite the big one and do it when you least need it. So this Blodge agility up ghoul is a treasure. Treasure him, but don't be surprised when you lose him. And when you can, get that second white. These flesh golems are going to be your cores, they're going to be your pillars. These two werewolves are going to be your superstars. These two whites can be your blitzers, your enforcers. They come with blocks to start off with. You develop them well, they can be two very, very powerful kill pieces, leaving your werewolves to be also kill pieces, or they can be ball carriers. Werewolves are just so powerful that you can develop them so many different ways, and you can rely on these two getting two whites and developing them very specifically as your enforcers or your kill pieces. You went for Dirty Player on this zombie, which is great. He is movement busted, but really that doesn't matter. Just a shame that he's not going to be able to stride across the pitch and put the boot in, but it's not a reason to get rid of him. Dirty Player zombie with only 3 movement, not the best, but he's on the pitch to do some damage and then get sent off, so not the biggest loss either. Yep, good team. I think you're doing well. I seem to remember seeing in other teams' highlights that you had won some matches. So, yep, you won against the Revolutionary Corpses. You won. Oh no, you lost against Leoric's new best friends. But you won against the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard, and you won against the non-high elves, and you won against the Camun Consulting Khemri team. So Greenhorn, you did great, and you're doing okay in the regular season. Maybe you just need to get a few more wins, and Necro is one of those teams that builds really well. So if you're getting wins or draws now, by the end of the season those will be more trending towards wins. So developing well, doing well. I don't expect big things from you. Let's have a look. So this is the Dustuco Orchorfs. Probably pronouncing that wrong. The coach is Ricky Titan. Ricky, if you have a moment, again, send me the phonetic spelling of your team name. Dustuco Orchorfs? Oh, I'm probably making a hash of it. Anyway, let's have a look at the team. So we got the 2 ball centers. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sneaky one at the bottom there, 6 blockers, and then obviously the rest are hobos. This one hobo here, get rid of him. You're gonna have Lino hobgoblins. So if you get SPP on that Lino, or Loner Hobgoblin, or you get SPP on this Hobgoblin, it makes no difference other than the fact that this Hobgoblin is costing you 40 TV, and he is going to get sent off or knocked out or injured every match, first or second block he takes. You start getting SPP on him, as I said, for other teams, then he's going to become this player that is always off the pitch, always getting injured, but has SPP, so you're then second guessing getting rid of him. Just bite the bullet, get rid of him now, and then just fill these two other spots with Hobgoblins. After next match you'll be able to do that anyway. You have the Apothecary, so you're good there. You have 3 team rerolls, you're good there. Your team does seem a little bit developmentally starved though. You basically got 2 skill ups. You must have had some deaths or something, because you've got 1 blocker with guard and you've got 1 bull centaur with block. You have a few other pieces that are close to leveling, but this doesn't seem to be leveling or development in line with the rest of the teams in your division. So, well, there you go. So you've actually played less games. You had 1 Greenhorn game and then 2 regular season games, and you did well. You won your Greenhorn game and you won and drew your regular season game. So you're doing well, just lacking that development on your team. You must have had deaths. I'm even for Chorf, this is kind of slow development. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, but I think you had deaths, and that's the reason why there's a lack of development on your team. Doing well though. Okay, so we're getting to the end of it here. The last 2 teams. Terra Gargarian or Terra Gargaren. It's basically a play on the Game of Thrones Targaryens. So Orc team, Quantum Hoover. So we've got the 4 Black Orcs, the 4 Blitzers. This is a classic build. 1 thrower, 2 linemen. AV9 as far as the eye can see. You do have that thrower. Bit of a hot topic. Lots of coaches will be like, oh no, and outside commentators will be like, oh no, don't take the thrower. It's the only AV8 piece you're going to have on your team. Yeah, it's an AV8 piece. The AV8 isn't that bad. And to be honest with you, when I'm playing an Orc team without a thrower, I start rubbing my hands, because the Orc thrower may not be much of a thrower, but he comes with sure hands. And part of my strategy as Skaven or a Dash team in general is getting the Bullhawk player to strip ball or tackle and just get the ball out of the Bash team's hands. So this safe hands, or sure hands on your Orc thrower, make him your ball carrier in those matches, and then suddenly that's one of my plans of how I'm going to win the match gone. So I would keep the thrower. I would maybe make him a solid ball carrier. Talking of the last team we were talking about had a lack of development. This team also has a lack of development. You have pretty much all of your SVP invested in this 1 blitzer who you've given tackle. I think that's a great choice, tackle. It's good for dealing with those agility dash teams, but yeah, you really just put all of your eggs in this one player basket. You have 120k in the bank. I would get an Apothecary. I would probably get an extra player, a lineman, and then just really just focus on getting the SPPs somewhere other than on this one blitzer. This is Orcs are a great starting team. They're a very strong team, but they're also they need development just like any other team. So definitely focus on getting your SPP elsewhere than that one blitzer. And the last team, the unpronounceable team. I'm not even going to bother trying. This is just a lot of random symbols, and I'm sure this is some sort of emoticon or what have you, and everyone else knows what it means apart from me. But this is a Skaven team coached by Misa, and Misa is living the dream. Apart from having all of his players with that same damn symbol, yet he has one gutter runner with movement up, one gutter runner with agility up. This is the dream. One gutter runner with 3 SPPs who's going to level soon. You've got these 2 Storm Vermin, one with Mighty Blow. That's a good choice. The rest linemen. I would have gone for a 4th gutter runner, maybe a thrower as well. Again, thrower is debatable, but definitely a 4th gutter runner. But this is to die for. But you also have very little development on the rest of your team. Again, I'm imagining you probably played a very few games. Yeah, you've only played regular season games, so 2 games worth of development. This is great, but you are a little bit behind the rest of the teams in the division in terms of development. As soon as you can, get 2 touchdowns with this guy, with this gutter runner. Get another touchdown on this one. Get another gutter runner. I would say develop your movement 10 gutter runner, but that's probably going to have to wait a game or 2. Definitely get if you can score 3 touchdowns in the next game, put it on this one and 2 on this one. Get them block or wrestle, depending on on how you're going to develop them. Focus on blitzing with your Storm Vermin, and get that 4th gutter runner. That would be my advice. I got a feeling you're actually doing really well, so you may not even need my advice. So for 2 games played, and you've won 1-1, the first one 2-1, and the second one 3-1. So yeah, you're off to a great start. You're probably a very experienced coach, knows what they're doing. But yeah, my advice: get the 4th gutter runner. Develop these gutter runners with your stat ups, so that they are a little bit harder to take out. And other than that, you're golden. Okay, so that completes the coverage of the teams. I'm going to take a quick look at the leaderboard. So as we kind of alluded to when covering the teams, we've got 3 teams at the top of the tables here. We've got Misa with the unpronounceable Skaven team. We've got the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard High Elf team coached by Tyler Druss. I'm probably going to pronounce that differently each time I say it, and still get it wrong each time. And then we've got the Underworld team, Underworld Unimpressives by JP Casey. Bit of a misnomer because they're winning 2-0 and they seem to be doing really, really well. Then we have the Amazon team, the Suffragettes, coached by Ninja Breadman at 1-1 or 1-0-1. Same with the Undead team, the Grim Guardians by Cthulhu Collect. And the same with the Avenging Murder Wolves for JS Sentinel. Absolute Disaster, the first team we looked at. The Dark Elf team, Thomas T, coached by Thomas T. Again at 1-0-1. 980 TV, so a little bit of development needed there. The Necromantic team, again at 1-0-1. You had a lot of teams that won 1 and lost 1, so I'm not sure who was winning where and losing where, but anyway. We have a Necromantic team, the Wolves and stuff, Screwface, Vampire team, the Oryx New Best Friends by Jokesy, or coached by Jokesy. And then we have the draws of the Dusuko Chorfs and the Revolutionary Corpses. So the Destuco Chorfs have only one game played, so they still have one game left to play, and it'll be against the Gargarians by Quantum Hoover. They both still have one game to play, so they could win and be suddenly catapulted up the tables, but for right now they're in 10th and 12th place. Then we have the Revolutionary Corpses by Luke Lazy, the Kemri team, at 1 draw, 1 loss. And then trending towards the bottom of the table, we'll have the Scholars of Ogre Hampshire with 2 losses. And the Rats All Folks, the Skaven team, coached by Wormster, again at 2 losses. Looking ahead to week 3, we have the Grim Guardians versus Wolves and Stuff. We have the Revolutionary Corpses versus Absolute Disaster. We have the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard versus the Underworld Unimpressives. The Scholars of Ogre Hampshire versus the Suffragettes. The Yorick's New Best Friends versus the Unpronounceable Skaven team. The Avenging Murder Wolves versus Terra Gargarian. I'm not sure. Then the Rats All Folks versus the Detsuko Chorfs. Okay, so my picks of the week ahead. So I have the Grim Guardians winning over Wolves and Stuff. Grim Guardians is an undead team. Wolves and Stuff is a necromantic team. I'm purely making this call based on the fact that the Grim Guardians are an undead team. They are a little bit stronger to start off with. If we were a little bit later in the season, it would be more of a tougher call. But yeah, I am giving it to the Grim Guardians. I'm going to say 2-1. Revolutionary Corpses versus Absolute Disaster. I am going to give this to Absolute Disaster, the Dark Elf team. I just think that this is going to be a team to watch, the Absolute Disaster. Then we have the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard versus the Underworld Unimpressives. Now these two teams are both at the top of the table. They both have 2 wins each. I believe I'm going to call this one for the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard. Not because I don't think I think that the Underworld Unimpressives aren't going to be a formidable opponent. But I just think that the higher agility of the High Elves, the development they have, and just general elf bullshit, I've got a feeling that the Bloodthirsty Sea Guard are going to win that one. The Scholars of Ogre Hampshire versus the Suffragettes, definitely calling that one for the Suffragettes, the Amazon team. I don't think the Scholars of Ogre Hampshire have anything that's going to combat all of that dodge. Then the Yorick's New Best Friends versus the Unpronounceable Skaven team. I'm calling that one for the Skaven team. The Avenging Murder Wolves versus Terra Gargarian. Yeah, calling that one for the Orc team. The Terra. I'm just going to call you the Terrors now, because I can't pronounce that properly, even though I know what you're basing it on. And then we have Rats All Folks versus the Detsuko Chorfs. I'm calling that one for... I'm going to call that one for the Rats. I know that they haven't had a win yet, but I've got a feeling that they're going to win that one. Chorfs are typically a pretty hard team to get started with, and I've got a feeling that Rats All Folks has the development to get a win there. Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for this week. As I said, it was a little bit of a funny week because I had basically 2 weeks of coverage to go over, the preview show, talking about your team development. So I kind of gave you a brief highlight of team development and week 1-2 action and everything combined. So next week is going to be a little bit more stable. It's going to have a little bit more flow. There's going to be some new features. I'm going to sort of do some game analysis, things of that nature. There should be some fun stuff in there too. So this week was a bit of a break from the norm, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. And I look forward to speaking to you all next week. And for the week ahead, go out, have some fun, get some deaths, give me something to report on.